If you cannot command yourself, nothing else you command will matter. Not money, not status, not strength. Because a man who cannot say no to his own impulses is already owned by mood, owned by craving, owned by the next distraction. And a man who is owned is never free. There is a quiet tragedy most people never notice. It doesn't look dramatic. No explosions, no collapse, no visible disaster, just a slow leak, days slipping through fingers, promises postponed, habits unchecked, emotions steering the wheel. Life, not ruined in a moment, but wasted in inches. One indulgence at a time, one excuse at a time, one tomorrow at a time. And years later they look back and whisper, "How did I get here?" They got there by surrendering control, little by little. Self-control is not glamorous. No one applauds it. No one sees it. It happens in silence. In the early morning when the bed is warm and the air is cold. In the pause before you answer an insult. In the moment your hand reaches for distraction and stops. These moments look small, but they are everything. Because character is not built in grand gestures. It is built in private decisions. Decisions no one else will ever know about, except you, and your conscience never forgets. When I was younger, I thought strength meant intensity, loud confidence, big moves, bold declarations. But the older I became, the more I noticed something different. The strongest people were quiet, measured, slow to react. They didn't chase every feeling. They didn't argue every point. They didn't crumble at every inconvenience. It was as if something inside them was anchored, while everyone else was drifting. That anchor was self-control. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, armies, politics, chaos at every border. Yet in his private writings, he didn't speak about conquering others. He spoke about conquering himself, his temper, his ego, his desires. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Not power over the world, power over the mind. Because once the mind is steady, the world loses its grip." Look around today. Distraction is everywhere. Endless scrolling, endless opinions, endless cravings designed by people who profit from your weakness. Every app fights for your attention. Every advertisement whispers, you need more. More pleasure, more comfort, more noise. But every time you obey blindly, you carve away a piece of your will, like water eroding stone, slowly, constantly, until one day you try to focus, and you can't. Try to resist, and you fold. Try to sit in silence, and you panic. This is not lack of intelligence, it is lack of discipline. And discipline is simply trained self-control. Epictetus was born a slave. No freedom, no possessions, nothing the world would call power. Yet he became one of the most influential philosophers in history. How? Because he understood something most free men never learn. They could chain his body, but not his mind, not his reactions, not his choices. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that. Not master of money, not master of others, master of himself. Without that, every other freedom is illusion. Imagine two men. One is rich, but impulsive. He drinks too much, speaks without thinking, chases every desire. He looks powerful, but he is dragged around by his urges like a dog on a leash. The other has little, but he wakes early, keeps his word, controls his tongue, endures discomfort without complaint. He looks ordinary, but inside, he is unbreakable. If you had to choose one life, which is truly stronger, self-control is not suppression. It is not pretending you feel nothing. It is not becoming cold. It is awareness. It is feeling the storm inside you and choosing not to let it steer the ship. Anger rises. You notice it, but you don't become it. Desire rises. You notice it, but you don't kneel to it. Fear rises. You notice it, but you still step forward. You are not killing emotion. You are refusing to be ruled by it. There is a difference. A profound difference. Most suffering comes from lack of pause. Someone insults you. You react instantly. Regret follows. You feel bored. You reach for your phone. An hour disappears. You feel stressed. You eat, drink, or escape. The problem grows. Impulse. Reaction. consequence, over and over, like a machine. But between impulse and action, there is a space, a small space, almost invisible. Self-control lives there. If you can stretch that space, even by a second, you change your life, because now you choose, instead of obey. Seneca wrote letters about anger. He called it temporary madness, and he was right. Think about the last time you were furious. Were you rational, calm, wise? Or were you possessed, voice louder, heart racing, vision narrow, as if someone else took control? That is what lack of self-control looks like. Possession, and afterward, only ashes, damaged relationships, broken trust, shame. All from a few uncontrolled minutes. Strength is not striking back. Strength is standing still while the fire burns through you, and refusing to let it spread. Modern life makes indulgence easy. Food at any hour. Entertainment without end. Comfort everywhere. But comfort has a cost. Every time you choose the easy path, you weaken the muscle of will. And willpower is like any muscle. If you don't train it, it atrophies. So you must practice difficulty. Deliberately. Wake before you want to. Train when you'd rather rest. Finish what you start. Sit with boredom. Speak less than you could. These are not punishments. They are repetitions. Repetitions in the gym of character, each one making you harder to break. There is a quiet confidence that comes from self-control, not arrogance, not pride, something deeper. Because when you can trust yourself, life changes. If you say you'll do something, you do it. If you set a boundary, you keep it. If temptation appears, you don't collapse. You become reliable. And reliability creates respect from others, but more importantly, from yourself. And self-respect is heavier than gold. Once you have it, you refuse to trade it for cheap pleasure. I want you to imagine a forge. Dark room, cold air, then fire. Bright, relentless, a blade placed inside. The metal doesn't argue, doesn't complain. It endures heat, then hammer. Again and again, shaping. Refining, removing weakness. That is self-control. Every time you resist an impulse. Hammer, every time you choose discipline. Hammer, every time you stay calm under pressure. Hammer, it hurts. It's repetitive. It's slow. But one day you look at yourself and realize you're not soft anymore. You don't bend so easily. Life hits you, and you hold shape. Buddha taught that craving is the root of suffering. Look closely and you'll see it. Craving praise, craving comfort, craving attention, craving more. When you are ruled by craving, you are never at peace, because reality will never match your endless wants. Self-control cuts craving at the root. It says, I have enough. I can wait. I don't need this to be whole. And suddenly, the world loses its power to manipulate you. Advertisements fail. Peer pressure fades. Temptation weakens, because you are no longer hungry for everything. A full mind is a calm mind. This doesn't mean life becomes easy. It becomes clear. Pain still comes. Loss still happens. People still disappoint you, but you don't spiral. You don't shatter. You absorb, adapt, continue. Like a mountain in a storm. Wind screams. Rain hits. Clouds rage. The mountain remains. Not because the storm is weak, but because the mountain is grounded. Self-control is your roots. Without roots, even a small wind knocks you down. With roots, even hurricanes pass. Start small. Don't try to conquer everything at once. That's ego. Instead, choose one thing. Wake when the alarm rings, not 10 minutes later. Keep your word for 1 week. No excuses. Sit in silence for 10 minutes a day. No phone. No noise. Eat with awareness. Speak with intention. Train your body. Read something difficult. Tiny acts. But done daily. They accumulate. Like drops filling a lake. One day you realize you're not reacting like you used to. You're calmer. Sharper. Harder to provoke. Harder to distract. You didn't transform overnight. You forged yourself. Slowly. Deliberately, like all things that last. And here's the strange part. the more control you gain, the more freedom you feel. At first, discipline feels restrictive, like chains, but later you understand. Those chains were actually keys, because when you can control yourself, you can choose your path without interference. No addiction pulls you. No emotion hijacks you. No laziness owns you. You move because you decide to move. You stop because you decide to stop. That is freedom. Not doing whatever you feel, but not being forced by any feeling. Years from now, you won't remember the nights you indulged every impulse. They blur together. But you will remember the days you stood firm. The day you didn't quit, didn't react, didn't give in. Those are the days that shape identity. Those are the days you become someone you respect. And at the end of life, respect for yourself is what remains. Not applause, not followers, not noise. Just you. And the question, did I govern myself, or was I governed by everything else? So when temptation whispers, pause. When anger rises, breathe. When laziness calls, stand up. Not dramatically, not loudly, calmly, like a quiet refusal, like a king declining nonsense. You don't need to fight every battle, just refuse to surrender your mind. Again, and again, and again, until discipline becomes nature, until control becomes identity, until strength becomes silent. Because in the end, self-control is not about restriction. It is about becoming someone life cannot bully, someone chaos cannot command, someone desire cannot enslave, a person steady as stone, calm as still water, sharp as forged steel. And when the world pulls at you from every direction, you simply stand there, unmoved, unshaken, and free.